Hey there, my name is Colin, also known as Skips, and welcome to the Modder's Blueprint. This is a series where I'll teach you everything you need to know to mod Terraria and make super cool content like this. I'm a CS student, and I've been modding Terraria for about 5 years now, and I'm even an active developer on projects such as Spirit Reforged. Now, we're going to be mastering the basics in this series. Visual effects will be built with Terraria's internal assets and systems. Alright, let's hop right into it. Alright, welcome back everybody to the Modder's Blueprint. It's going to be episode 5, where we are going to be kind of moving away from the weapons we have been working on, and we're going to be going over something honestly a little bit more simple. We're going to be going over kind of a basic accessory today. It's going to just be called a heal shroom charm. It's basically going to be a healing accessory that's going to create a regenerative cloud of mushroom spores whenever you use a healing item. But the interesting part is we're going to be using a mod player as well as a global item to detect when the player uses a healing item. And we are also going to be spawning this accessory in wooden chests, so we are going to be going over a little bit of world generation today as well. So I'm just going to be trying to cover a lot of stuff we haven't really gotten to cover, as we've been focusing a lot on our weapons for each class. But yeah, without further ado, here's a quick little video of what it's going to be looking like in action, and yeah, we can get started. Alrighty, so I went ahead and added our Heal Shroom Charm mod item class, as well as here is our sprite for the accessory, like a mushroom thing, and we're going to be reusing the same smoke for our spore projectile, but we'll be going over that later. Anyways, for the item itself, it's honestly really simple, especially compared to weapons where we have like hundreds of lines of code. For something like an accessory, we're just going to override set defaults, and we're literally just going to call item.default to accessory. This is a vanilla method, which you can actually hover over, and you should be able to decompile it. It just sets the width and height to by default 24, and it sets accessory to true. It helps readability a little bit. You can also just set item, accessory, and size yourself. You're also going to add 2 defense. So when an item is an accessory, that means it can be equipped, and if item.defense is greater than 0, it will give the player that much defense when it is equipped as an accessory. It doesn't do anything if applied to a weapon or anything like that, or a tile item or anything like that. It only affects armor and accessories. And then we are going to set item.rare to a rarity id.blue. And that's all we kind of got to do there. Then we're going to go override update equip. Update equip is a method that runs every single frame when the item is equipped. So you can do a lot of things in this method, but for our purposes, we're actually just going to make a new class called player, which is a mod player. We're going to have a public pool equipped. Now, I'm going to override a method called reset effects. This is set at the beginning of the frame, and it resets everything to its default. So by default, equipped should be false, but update equip in our mod item runs after reset effects. So if we call player.getModPlayer from player dot equipped equals true, this means that every time the player has this equipped, every frame the player has it equipped, this will be true everywhere. But as soon as the player is no longer calling equipped, or is setting equipped to true every single update tick or every single frame, it will no longer be equipped. This is really important, otherwise you can equip an accessory once, take the accessory off, and it'll still be equipped in your code. So make sure not to forget that. We are also going to create an int called heal timer. Then this is going to be a timer that decrements when greater than 0. 0 minus minus. Yes. So yeah, this heal timer is basically just going to count down to 0 whenever it's greater than 0, which is going to make sense because it's going to be a delayed heal, as you saw. Which we can actually create a void do heal. I think is a fine name, and then we can heal the player for, I say 15 is a fine amount to start, and then if heal timer equals 0, do heal. That way, whenever we activate the delayed heal, it will actually do our healing stuff. And how this works basically is we're gonna set heal timer to, for example, like 3 seconds in a global item. But for now, when we set heal timer to example 60, every frame it is going to decrease by 1. Only when it's greater than 0, otherwise it would just go forever. And then because we're decrementing heal timer before we're finding this code, how it'll work when heal timer is 1 is it'll be heal timer is greater than 0, so heal timer is 1 here. Then we'll set heal timer -1 or minus, and heal timer will be 0. And now this still runs even though this if statement says if heal timer greater than 0, and now heal timer is equal to 0, but this entire code is still going to run because heal timer was greater than 0 upon going into it. Pretty much how that works. If we did like a break statement or a return, then that code wouldn't run. But the entire method will run, or the entire if statement will run. So this will happen once our timer has ran out, and it will work every time. Now I want to, yes, make a global item. Class heal room global item. Mod player is attached to every player instance, by the way. It's an extension of the player instance. And then the global item, you can modify hooks that run for all items, vanilla and modded, as it says. So, why we need this is we need to check when a player uses a healing item. Very simply, 1 second. Very simply, we're going to override consume item, which runs, actually no, not consume item, we can do on consume item. On consume item, which runs every single time an item that has item.consumable set to true is used, for example, healing potions and mushrooms and stuff like that that heal the player. Now all we need to do is check item.heal life. I'm going to say greater than or equal to 15 because that is the smallest healing item in vanilla. Modded might add ones, but it'd be pretty weird, to be honest. Then we're gonna call player.tryGetModPlayer. This is an interesting one because it has this unique thing where you can do room player, and then we can do out var mod player, or you can do out room player, but I think that's unnecessary, so I'm going to do out var mp, and this is also a boolean. It will return false if we do not get the mod player instance, which would throw an error, so we want to make sure that the code after this only runs if this is true. Then we can check and mp.equipped and mp.healTimer less than equal to 0. Then we can set heal timer to, I'm actually going to make a constant. Have I gone over constants yet? I can go over them again. Basically, you can do public constant max heal timer equals 180. Hope I'm going at a decent pace. So a constant int, basically, it doesn't change at runtime. It stays the exact same. Usually it's going to have all caps separated by underscores. And the cool thing is that they can be accessed from anywhere, even a different class, because it's not going to change between instances. So we can do heal from player.max heal timer. And now the better thing, and this is why it's a good practice, is because everything that has to relate to this variable can access it, and you can change it at once. So say I want to do a balance patch or something, instead of 3 seconds, I want it to be 10 seconds. I can just change it to 600, and all code that references it should be made, and will be made, appropriately to work with any variable put here, because we aren't hard coding anything. We're using an actual variable that is just constant. So now, I think this should all work. We also do main.new text heal, just a test, and this should all work. So I'm gonna boot up the game real quick, and we can test that all of this logic is working as intended. Alrighty, booted up the game. I have the accessory. I also added some localization and stuff. But now we can equip it. We can take the healing potion, and after about 3 seconds, boom, we get a delayed heal. And yeah, that's pretty perfect. Yeah, no, that seems good. I'm going to quickly add some visual effects for the heal, and I'm also going to do this little trick. So by default, healing items, they give you the potion sickness for a while, and that's kind of annoying, waiting a second in between tests. So I'm just going to delete this code real quick, and now this code will all run whenever we use any consumable item, just for debugging purposes. You obviously want to return it, but when making visuals and stuff, you're going to want to tweak and test a lot of things, so that's just going to make it a lot easier. And I would, take that logic and extrapolate it to anything you do, because, the easier it is to debug and test, the easier it is to develop your content. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a progress. It's going to be equal to 1f minus heal timer divided by max heal timer as a float. You want to make sure it's a float, otherwise this will just round and it'll be either 0 or 1, which we don't want. And this is going to go from 1 to 0 depending on our heal timer. It'll start at 1 and then go to 0 as we get closer and closer to the heal, which is going to make making our visuals very easy. Then we're going to do int mathhelper.lerp. We already know about lerp, linear interpolation, the goat. We're going to go from, I would say, 9 to 2 as progress happens. And then in this, we are just going to spawn some dust. I'm going to do player.center plus main.ran.next vector to circular. And take the player's width, player's height, dust type, or bloom sparkle. Do that y 0 color.lerp, and we're gonna do no color 1376 20 color 51 135 36. These are just some green colors. We're gonna do the same thing we did for the Explore Broom Staff, just kind of get a random color in between those two. And then kind of want the alpha to be like 150 And float 0.2f, 0.4f. Yeah, that all looks good. And then we're also going to do if progress greater than 0.75f. So the latter 25% of the quote-unquote animation, we are going to take an interpolant of the last 25% equal to 1f minus progress minus 0.75f minus 0.25f. No, there's a lot of math. I'm going pretty fast here, but basically this interpolant is going to go from 1 to 0 as the latter 25% of our progress happens. So progress goes from 0 to 1, and then this interpolant in the last 25% of progress is going to go from 0 to 1, if that makes sense. Then we are going to take vector 2 position. We're going to set it to main.rand vector 2 circular edge. The f times interpolant. Then we're going to call that's perfect position, content, that's type, sparkle, position dot direction 2, player dot center. Basically, say this is the player. This is the player. So a sparkle will spawn in a ring around a player. And then that's position. Position.direction 2 is going to take this position and find the direction to the player center. So it's going to go towards the player center, kind of like this motion. Anyways, and then let's make that a little bit slower. And then we're going to do a similar light function as we did up there, just for slight randomness. Actually, I'm just going to copy this. Just for slight randomness, and then I want to make it completely additive. You're going to get the scale, probably similar scale. Maybe a little bit smaller. Then if you remember when we made this dust 2 episodes ago, setting custom data to true makes it rotate. Now, we have those sparkles, and then we have this little ring of sparkles, and you can see. Now, one thing I want to do, actually, is get this dust object. Now I want to do d dot picture, and I also want to do d dot rotation equals main dot rand dot mix float 6.28f. 6.28f is 2 pi, basically a full circle, and now now they actually have like this random rotation instead of kind of being very similar. This just makes it look a little bit more natural. And now we have a little sparkly particle effect when the heal is happening. And now all we gotta do is add some smoke effects as well as the regenerative smoke particle. So let's do that real quick. Alright, so I'll be honest, I am going to be reusing or retooling, I should say, this class called, or the Spore Bloom Staff Spore, and we're just going to call it Heal Shroom Charm Spore to match that. And it's going to be pretty similar. I want to make the hitbox a little bit bigger. It's not going to deal damage. It's going to last for 10 seconds. Then all that should be good. I also want to change the colors to be green instead. 96. Okay. That all looks good. I'm gonna make this a little bit more common. Just change these colors. I think maybe this would be fine. And then here, I would like to do sparkles instead of the poison dust. So that's perfect. Dot center plus main dot rand dot next vector to circular. You guys all know how this goes. Approach type, sparkle. Then we're gonna do main dot rand dot next vector to circular 0. And we can do draw color. Next float 0.2f, 0.4f. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did for what we just did. And and the next vector, next float, just Volcana. That should add some green smoke and the green sparkles. Just delete this. Make sure that matches projectile time left, which could probably be made a constant int if you wanted to. Then we're going to check that player owner. We're going to get the player object that owns the projectile. Then we're going to check if projectile.hitbox.intersects player.hitbox. We're going to do player.addBuff buff id.regeneration for 3 seconds. Basically, this is going to make it so when the player is like in the smoke, the regenerative smoke, they're actually going to get the regeneration buff. So that's kind of the other part of this accessory. They're not going to deal damage. Their only purpose is going to be giving the player the heal buff. And let's do our spawning real quick. We're gonna spawn some dust first. I think just similar dust to this would be fine. Yeah, that's probably fun. Then make another for loop. About 20 projectiles, I'd say. Kind of a lot, but I mean, you can have a lot of projectiles. We're gonna call projectile.new projectile, and then we're gonna do player.getSourceMiss tutorial mod heal room storms for spawn. We're gonna get the same position we've kind of been using, just like a randomized position near the player's center. Vector 2 circular. Here you guys are noticing a pattern with this one. A lot of randomized position and velocity. Come on. 0 player dot who am I? Make sure you set the owner to be the player dot who am I who's spawning it, or else our logic won't work. Then we are going to do sound engine dot place sound, do some sound effects. Feel impact is one I found that worked quite well. then dot get sound, somebody dot double jump with one, just two up, enter, and then we are going to do player dot get mod player, tutorial mod player. We are gonna add some shake. That should be our mechanics done, I believe. Just adding our visuals, adding the regenerative spores, and I think after I build up real quick, we should be all good. Alrighty, I've rebuilt. Remember, we're still able to use shurikens. Oh yeah, works perfectly. We're still able to use shurikens to proc the effect, just for debugging purposes. But yeah, as you can see, we have these things. Oh, those need additive blending on. The sparkles, right? There we go, that looks better. So yeah, we can proc the effect, it creates the regenerative spores, and we get the regeneration buff when we're in the spores. It's very cute. Very, very cute. Alright, last thing we're gonna do is finish it up and add the chest generation. So, real quick, I'm gonna do item.heal life greater than or equal to 15 again. Whoops, sorry. Hit my mic. And then we are going to create for our world generation. We're gonna create public class generate heal from charm. And it's gonna be a mod system. The mod system has a lot of hooks that you can use relating to your mod, but for us, we're going to override post world gen, which runs after the world has been fully generated, which is perfect for adding loot to chests. Now, it's kind of scary looking code, but it's very simple. First, whoops, for int I equals 0, less than main dot max chests. This is a static int at main that is the amount of chests in the world, which corresponds to main.chest. Basically, we're looping, this code loops through every chest. It's like looping through NPCs, looping through tiles, looping through projectiles, looping through items. We just get every chest object. Then we're just going to check that the chest doesn't equal null, and that the main.tile chest.x chest.y tile type equals tile id containers. Yes. And then main.tile chest.x chest.y tile frame. No. Tile frame x equals 0 times. No, I think it's just 0 for wooden chests. But we can check this out real quick. Let me open up the wiki. Actually, I don't need the wiki. I have the textures on my computer. So we're checking that the tile ID equals containers, which is 21. So if we open up tiles 21 here, we're gonna have every single chest in the game. And you'll notice we get the width, each frame, accounting for padding, each frame is going to be 36 pixels wide, which is what we can check. But we're generating in wooden chests, because those are surface chests. So we just check that the tile frame X is equal to 0. Tile frame, if you wanted, for example, gold chests, like kind of like underground, you would check 36, or 1 times 36, but you can check 36, 72, 108, I don't know. But you can use that logic and extrapolate it to every single chest in the game. Obviously, some of these don't generate, like I don't think that generates that. But for world gem purposes, you can check mushroom chest, which is like 20 or something. But that's what the tile frame X is used for here. So this basically just checks is a wooden chest. So now that we've determined that we are in a wooden chest, now we can check for x equals 0, I less than x inventory. Is there max inventory slots? Slots. I don't know, but a chest has 40 slots. I know that. So this is going to loop through every inventory slot in the chest. Then x type equals item ID dot none. Then we're going to check if the chest's item in that slot that we're looping through is empty. We're going to break out of the loop first because we've generated an item. Then we're going to also check and main dot what's it called? World gen dot genrand dot next float. That's the reason we use genrand dot next float instead of main dot rand dot next float is because this is a unified random, and it works with seeds as it describes you there. So this is going to be a 50% chance to add the item to the chest. Now what we got to do is actually we can make this item equals. Then we're going to set item, set defaults, and then we're going to get mod content dot item type and then item dot prefix -1, which will give it a random prefix. And yeah, that should be good to generate all of our items in all wooden chests. If you wanted it to be, golden chests, just set it to 36, and this code simply just loops through all of the inventory slots in a chest. Very simple, but it is code that is very useful for all sorts of world generation, and it's kind of just an introduction. So, just testing, make a small world. We're just going to generate it real quick, and hopefully, if all is good, we should have our accessories generating. And moving on. Ooh, it's generating. Not quite in the right spot. Not sure why that's happening. It's skipping. I'm unsure why. Okay. We always want to break when we reach the first. We always want to break out of the loop when we reach the first empty slot, otherwise it'll run like 30 times, and then it's not really random. So we're just going to create another world. Basically what was happening is before, it was only breaking out of this loop 50% of the time. So pretty much it would only break out of the loop when we actually placed the item, which we don't want to do. we want to break out of the loop immediately, so that it is simply a 50% chance for the item to spawn in our chests. Not chest. Okay, cool. There's one. Let's make sure our randomness is working. If I could find any chests, oh my goodness. Cool. And, as you can see, it's not in that chest, but it was in... I lost it. Where to go? Where to go? Where to go? Oh, goodness gracious. Here's one. Okay. Unlucky. Here it was. But, it's in here. And we can grab this, and we can grab this mushroom. We can turn off mass illumination because it looks terrible. We can eat the mushroom. And we can get our little delayed heal. And that is very cute. Works very nicely. Yeah. Quite like that. Quite like that indeed. And as you can see, we still get our regeneration, so everything is working perfectly. And I mean, honestly, I think I'm just gonna call it there. Accessories, you know, they're pretty simple. I know this is definitely gonna be one of the shorter tutorials, but we still went over a lot. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's only so much to go over with accessories, but you can do a lot of advanced things. But I mean, if you look at vanilla accessories, shackle, 1 defense. Oh yeah, we get 2 defense when we're wearing it also. But like, you know, a lot of vanilla accessories are just like stat increases, tells the time, like band of regeneration. But you can also go crazy and do all sorts of modded stuff. I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. And that's the beauty of it. But yeah, I think that is gonna be all for this video. And yeah, I think next time, I'm not sure what I want to tackle. There's a lot where we can go. Don't hesitate to drop some suggestions down. I'll maybe do some armor. That's kind of another basic thing, but it's important to know kind of how it works and how set bonuses work. Or maybe I can go over some more world generation, or I saw some comments about modifying vanilla items and accessories, which I can also go over. But yeah, just drop down any questions and what you guys want me to go over next, and yeah, you guys had a good time watching.